She said, "I told my parents you're converting to their religion for the wedding. I'm atheist." She never asked me. When I showed up to meet them and they started the conversion ceremony, I politely declined and left. Her family group chat explosion was biblical. I, 31 male, have been with my girlfriend for 2 years. Met her at a mutual friend's wedding, hit it off immediately, and we've been pretty solid since. She's smart, ambitious, has this laugh that makes everyone in the room smile. I genuinely thought she was the one. Here's the thing, though. I'm an atheist. Have been since I was about 16. Not the aggressive kind who argues with people about their beliefs. I just don't have any religious faith, and I'm comfortable with that. I've been open about this since day one. First date, actually. I told her straight up because I know religion can be a deal breaker for some people. She said she was culturally Muslim but not really practicing. Her exact words: she'd drink wine with me, never prayed that I saw, ate whatever she wanted. So I figured we were on the same page. Her parents are a different story. Very traditional, very devout. She'd mentioned early on that they'd have opinions about her dating someone outside the faith, but she always brushed it off. "They'll come around," she'd say. "Once they meet you and see how happy I am, it won't matter." I believed her. Stupid, I know. About 6 months ago, things started shifting. She began hinting about meeting her parents. I was all for it. 2 years in, that's a reasonable next step. But she kept pushing it back. Not the right time. Dad's stressed about work. Mom's busy with my cousin's wedding. Then last month, she finally said we were ready. Her parents were coming to visit, and she wanted me to have dinner with them at her apartment. Big deal. I bought a nice bottle of wine, for us, not them, obviously, got a haircut, pressed my good shirt. The day before the dinner, she sat me down looking nervous. "So, I need to tell you something about tomorrow." My stomach dropped. Never a good opener. I may have told my parents something that isn't exactly true. Okay. I told them you're converting. To Islam, for me, for us to get married. I just stared at her, like genuinely couldn't process what she'd said. "You told them what?" "It's not a big deal. You just have to say some words, do a little ceremony thing, and then we can get married, and everyone's happy." I'm an atheist. You know this. I told you this on our first date. I know, but you don't actually believe in anything, right? So what does it matter if you say some words? It's just for my parents. You don't have to actually practice or anything. The audacity. The complete and utter audacity. You're asking me to lie about my fundamental beliefs to your entire family. It's not lying. It's just saying what they need to hear. Lots of people do this. My cousin's husband converted, and he's never been to a mosque since the wedding. Did your cousin's husband know about this plan beforehand? Did he agree to it? She went quiet. When did you tell them this? 3 months ago. 3 months. She'd been planning this ambush for 3 months. I told her I needed to think. She cried, said I was being dramatic, that this was such a small thing compared to our love. I went home that night with my head spinning. I didn't sleep much. Kept going back and forth. Part of me thought maybe she had a point. Did my atheism really matter that much if I didn't believe in anything anyway? But then I'd think about standing there, reciting religious declarations I didn't mean, lying to people's faces about who I am, and something in me just couldn't do it. The next morning, I decided to go to the dinner anyway, not to convert, but to see exactly what I was dealing with. I showed up at 6 p.m. Her parents were already there. Nice people, actually. Her dad shook my hand warmly, her mom hugged me. They seemed genuinely happy to meet me. Then they started setting up what was clearly some kind of ceremony. Candles, a prayer rug, her dad pulling out a Quran. My girlfriend looked at me with this expression, half pleading, half defiant, like she'd already decided this was happening whether I agreed or not. Her dad smiled at me. "We're so happy you've chosen to embrace the faith. This is a blessed day for our family." I looked at him. looked at her mom, who was beaming, looked at my girlfriend, who was biting her lip. "I'm sorry," I said quietly. "There's been a misunderstanding. I'm not converting." The silence was deafening. "What do you mean?" Her dad's smile was frozen. "I'm an atheist. I've always been an atheist. I was never going to convert. I wasn't told this was the plan until yesterday." Her mom gasped. Actually gasped, hand over her heart. My girlfriend started crying immediately. "Why are you doing this? You're ruining everything." "I'm not going to stand here and lie about my beliefs. I'm sorry this situation was misrepresented to you," I said to her parents. "I respect your faith, but I can't pretend to share it." Her dad's face had gone from warm to stone cold. "You've wasted our time, our daughter's time. You've humiliated us. I didn't know about any of this until yesterday. I came here to meet you, not to convert." "Then why are you here?" Good question. I didn't have a great answer. "Because I love your daughter, but not enough to lie about who I am." I grabbed my jacket and walked out. Behind me, I could hear her mom wailing something in Arabic, her dad's voice raised, my girlfriend sobbing. Drove home in silence. No radio, no nothing. Just me and the sound of a 2-year relationship imploding. About an hour later, my phone started blowing up. Texts, calls, the works. My girlfriend had apparently added me to her family group chat at some point, without telling me, of course, and I got to watch in real time as her entire extended family discovered what happened. The messages were something. Her aunt. "He embarrassed the whole family. What kind of man does this?" Her cousin. "I told you not to date outside the faith. This is what happens." Her uncle. "Disrespectful kafir. Good riddance." Her mom. "My daughter deserves better than a godless man who can't even make a small sacrifice." Small sacrifice. "Converting to a religion I don't believe in. Small." My girlfriend texted separately. "I can't believe you did this to me. You humiliated me in front of my entire family. I'll never forgive you." I typed back, "You set me up to participate in a religious ceremony without my consent. I'm not the one who lied here." She didn't respond. Removed myself from the group chat, muted her number, poured a bourbon, and sat in the dark. That was 3 days ago. Haven't heard from her directly since. Her younger sister texted me yesterday calling me a coward for not standing up for my girlfriend. The irony was lost on her, apparently. So yeah, 2 years, gone. Because she thought my beliefs didn't matter since they weren't religious ones. The thing that gets me is that she knew. She knew from day one, and she spent 2 years thinking she could just override that. That her family's approval mattered more than my actual consent. I'm not gonna lie, part of me wonders if I overreacted. Could I have just gone through with it to keep the peace? But then I think about spending the rest of my life with someone who thinks it's okay to make decisions like this for me. Nah, I made the right call. Update 1 week later. Didn't expect this to get so much attention. Thanks for the support, and the few people who told me I was an Islamophobic piece of garbage for not converting. Real nice. So, things escalated. The day after my original post, my girlfriend showed up at my apartment. No warning, just started pounding on the door at 8 a.m. on a Saturday. I opened it because I'm an idiot, and also because I hadn't had coffee yet. She looked rough, like she'd been crying for days. Part of me felt bad, a very small part. "We need to talk." "About what?" "You lied to your parents for 3 months and tried to trick me into a religious conversion." "I did it for US, so we could be together. Don't you get that?" "No, I really don't. You could have talked to me, asked me, but you didn't because you knew I'd say no." She pushed past me into the apartment, just walked right in like she still lived there. She'd stayed over plenty, but we never officially moved in together. Thank God. "My parents won't speak to me," she said, sitting on my couch. "My mom told me I've brought shame on the family. My dad said he's reconsidering paying for the rest of my master's degree. I'm sorry, but that's not my problem. You created this situation." "I created it? You could have just gone along with it. One ceremony. That's all I asked. You didn't ask. That's the entire point. You told your parents I was converting without ever asking if I would. Because I knew you'd be difficult about it. I actually laughed at that. Couldn't help it. Being difficult about someone trying to force me into a religion. Yeah, super unreasonable of me. She started crying again. This time with words mixed in about how I'd ruined her life, how her cousins were mocking her, how she'd never find someone her parents would approve of now. Then find someone your parents approve of, someone who's actually Muslim. I was never going to be that person. But I love you. Do you? Because it feels like you love the idea of me fitting into your life plan more than you love the actual me. That hit something. She went quiet. Then she said something that really got me. You're being so selfish. All you had to do was compromise. Compromise? A compromise is choosing a restaurant we both like. This was you asking me to lie about my identity for the rest of my life. That's not compromise. That's erasure. She didn't have a response to that. Just sat there crying quietly. Eventually, she asked if we could take a break and figure things out. I told her there was nothing to figure out. This was over. She left. Took some stuff she'd left at my place over the months. A hoodie, some books, a phone charger. Normal breakup stuff. Thought that would be the end of it. Narrator voice. It was not the end of it. Monday morning I get to work and my manager pulls me aside. Apparently someone had emailed HR claiming I'd made discriminatory comments about Muslims. The email was anonymous but included my full name and department. My blood went cold. I knew exactly who sent it. Thankfully, I have a pretty good relationship with my manager. I explained the situation, minus the personal details. Just said I'd had a bad breakup with someone from a Muslim family and suspected retaliation. HR took it seriously, but couldn't act without more information. They told me to document everything and let them know if anything else happened. The complaint was noted, but not acted on, since there was zero evidence. But it shook me. She actually tried to get me fired. Tuesday, her younger sister started texting me again, this time with a different approach. My sister made a mistake, but you're punishing her too harshly. She's in therapy now because of you. She's in therapy because she lied to her family and tried to force me into something I explicitly said no to. You don't understand our culture. Family is everything. She was trying to make everyone happy. She was trying to make everyone happy except me. You're not family. Exactly. Which is why I don't have to convert for them. She called me some choice names and I blocked her. Wednesday was when I found out about the lies she'd been spreading. A mutual friend, the one whose wedding we met at, texted me. Hey man, is it true you called her family a bunch of terrorists? What the hell? Apparently, my now ex had been telling people I'd gone on an Islamophobic rant at the dinner, that I'd insulted her parents' religion, mocked their beliefs, and stormed out after revealing my true colors. I was furious, actually shaking. I called my friend immediately. That is complete fabrication. I said, I'm not converting. I'm an atheist. This was misrepresented to you. That's it. I was polite. I left quietly. He believed me. Thank God we've been friends for 15 years, and he knows I'm not like that. She's been posting stuff too, he said. Nothing naming you directly, but quotes about wolves in sheep's clothing and men who pretend to accept you then reject your culture. I checked her social media. He was right. Vague posts painting herself as a victim of cultural rejection. The comments were full of sympathy, people calling me names without even knowing my name. The narrative she was building was clear. I was the bigot who couldn't accept her family, not the guy who was ambushed with a secret conversion ceremony. I documented everything, screenshots, dates, the HR complaint timing, sent it all to myself in an email with timestamps. My college roommate is a lawyer, and he'd told me once that documentation is everything. Thursday, I got a call from an unknown number. It was her dad. You have embarrassed my family, he said without preamble. My daughter has brought great shame, but you could have prevented this. A real man would have protected her honor, not thrown her to the wolves. Sir, I respect your faith, but I was never told about this plan until the night before. Your daughter misled both of us. She was protecting you from difficult conversations. This is what women do for their families. She was protecting herself from hearing no. That's not the same thing. He hung up on me. Friday, I came home to find my car had been keyed. Big scratch running from the driver's door to the back panel. No proof of who did it, but the timing was suspicious as hell. I filed a police report. Officer took notes, asked about recent conflicts. I gave them the bare minimum about the breakup. They said without witnesses or camera footage, there wasn't much they could do. That scratch is going to cost me about $800 to fix. Not life-ruining, but another kick when I'm down. I've been staying with a friend this weekend. Just needed to get away from the apartment, clear my head. He's been great about it. Hasn't pushed me to talk, just hands me beers and puts on bad action movies. The thing is, I don't regret walking out of that dinner. Not for a second. But I'm exhausted by the aftermath. The lies, the harassment, the attempted career sabotage. All because I said no to something I was never asked about in the first place. Someone asked in my DMs if I'm going to take legal action. Honestly, I don't know yet. Right now, I just want this to stop. Update 2, 3 weeks later. Alright, final update because I think this chapter is finally closing. After my last post, things got worse before they got better. The weekend after I posted Update 1, I was at my buddy's place trying to decompress. Sunday morning, I get a text from my mom, which is weird because she usually calls. Someone named X's name contacted me on Facebook. What is going on? My stomach dropped. She'd gone after my family. I called my mom immediately. Turns out my ex had found her on social media and sent a long message about how I had deeply disrespected her family's culture and how she was concerned about the man I was raising. Said she thought I should know who my son really is. My mom, bless her, saw right through it. I told her I raised you to be honest and to stand up for yourself, and if that's disrespectful, then maybe she should look at her own actions. My ex did not like that response, apparently sent a follow-up message calling my mom complicit in raising a bigot. Mom blocked her, but she was rattled. She's 64 and doesn't need this drama. That was my breaking point. I called my college roommate, the lawyer, told him everything. The HR complaint, the lies to friends, the keyed car, now contacting my mother. He went quiet for a minute. This is harassment. Clear pattern. You need to send a cease and desist. Will that actually do anything? Legally, it puts her on notice. If she continues, you have documented proof that she was warned. Makes any future legal action much easier. He drafted it pro bono because he's a good friend. The letter was beautiful, professional, factual, and absolutely devastating in its precision. Listed every incident with dates and evidence. Demanded immediate cessation of all contact with me, my family, and my employer. Warned of legal consequences, including potential civil action for defamation and harassment. We sent it certified mail to her apartment. The response was almost instant. Not from her, from her dad. He called me that evening, voice shaking with rage. You dare send lawyers after my daughter, after what you did to this family? What I did? I declined to convert to a religion I don't believe in. Everything that's happened since has been her choice. You have destroyed her reputation, her marriage prospects, her relationship with her family. She destroyed her own reputation by lying to everyone for 3 months and then lying again when the truth came out. A man takes responsibility. A man protects his woman. A man also doesn't appreciate being set up for an ambush conversion ceremony. And she's not my woman. She made sure of that. He threatened me, said he had connections, and could make my life very difficult. I stayed calm. Sir, I have documented every incident of harassment from your family. I have screenshots of messages, records of the HR complaint, and a police report for vandalism. If anything else happens, my attorney will be filing a civil suit naming everyone involved. Silence. Then he hung up. I was bluffing about naming everyone, but he didn't know that. 3 days later, my friend sent me a screenshot. My ex had posted publicly about healing from a toxic relationship and choosing peace over conflict. The comments were full of support, people praising her strength, her grace, her resilience. She'd repositioned herself as the victim who was moving on with dignity. No more vague accusations about me, just self-focused, healing content. The harassment stopped. The cease and desist worked, or at least the threat of legal action did. No more texts from her sister, no more calls from her dad, no more anonymous HR complaints. 2 weeks ago, I got the car fixed, $750 out of pocket. Insurance didn't cover it since I couldn't prove it wasn't random vandalism. It hurts, but I'm treating it as the cost of learning a very expensive lesson about who I was dating. The mutual friend who warned me about the social media stuff reached out last week, said our friend group had pretty much figured out the truth. Nobody who knows you believes you went on some Islamophobic rant, he said. That's just not who you are. A few of the friends I'd made through her have gone quiet. That's fine. They were her people first. I've got my own circle, and they've had my back through this entire mess. As for her, I heard through the grapevine that she's moved back in with her parents. The reconsidering her dad threatened about her tuition apparently happened. She's finishing her master's online now instead of in person. Her younger sister got engaged last month, and according to mutual friend networks, all the family attention has shifted there. She texted me once, about 10 days ago, despite the cease and desist. I hope you're happy. You got what you wanted. I lost everything. I didn't respond, showed it to my lawyer friend. He said it wasn't enough to escalate, but to save it just in case. Here's the thing. I'm not happy, not about any of this. 2 years of my life with someone who apparently saw me as a checkbox to fill in her family-approved life plan. Someone who thought my identity was negotiable because I wasn't religious. But I'm not unhappy either. I'm just existing, processing, moving forward. I've been seeing a therapist, not because I'm broken, but because I need to talk through this with someone neutral. She's helped me see patterns I missed, ways I ignored red flags because I wanted the relationship to work, the times she dismissed my beliefs as not really beliefs, the way her family was always talked about as this obstacle to manage rather than people to build a genuine relationship with. I'm not dating anyone right now. Not ready. My therapist says that's healthy, says I need to recalibrate what I want and what I'll accept. The apartment feels emptier since she took her stuff. Not sad empty, just different. I rearranged the living room last weekend, put my desk by the window where her reading chair used to be. It gets better light there anyway. Some people in my DMs asked if I regret how I handled the dinner, if I could have been more diplomatic. Handled it privately instead of in front of her parents. Maybe. Probably. But here's the thing. There was no handling it privately option. She made sure of that. The ceremony was set up when I walked in. The expectations were already established. The only choices I had were to go along with a lie or to tell the truth. I told the truth. That's not something I'll apologize for. To everyone who said I should have just converted since I don't believe in anything anyway. You're missing the point. My atheism is a belief. It's a belief that I won't claim faith I don't have. It's a belief in intellectual honesty. And it's a belief that I get to define my own identity, not have it decided for me by someone else's family expectations. That's worth standing up for, even when it costs you. So yeah, that's where things stand. The storm has passed. The damage is done. Now I'm just rebuilding. Thanks for following along. Stay true to yourselves out there. Final update, 6 weeks later. Figured I owed everyone a proper conclusion since you've been following this mess. Life's been quiet, which is honestly exactly what I needed. The cease and desist held. No more contact from her or her family. The social media posts about healing continued for a while, then tapered off. She got a new profile picture last month. No ring, but posed with what looked like a different guy at some formal event. Moving on, I guess. Good for her. I got confirmation about the HR complaint from an unexpected source. A coworker I'm friendly with mentioned that someone in our department was complaining about handling false accusations during a team meeting about workload. Connected the dots. The complaint definitely came from her, and it definitely went nowhere except wasting HR's time. My manager pulled me aside a few weeks back, said he wanted to check in after everything. I appreciated that. Told him things had settled down. He nodded and said, "Whatever happened, you handled it professionally. That doesn't go unnoticed." Small win, but I'll take it. The car scratch bothered me for a while. Not the money, just the violation of it. But I've made peace with it. $800 to learn exactly who I was dealing with. Some lessons are expensive. My therapist has been great. We've been working through not just the breakup, but the pattern that led me there. The way I minimized warning signs. The times I told myself her dismissal of my beliefs was just a cultural difference instead of actual disrespect. She asked me last session, "What would you do differently?" I thought about it. I'd take my own beliefs more seriously, not just as something to mention on a first date, but as something to actually discuss. To make sure we're actually compatible, not just assuming we are because we want to be. She nodded. That's growth. The friend group situation sorted itself out naturally. The people who were really her friends drifted away. The people who were genuinely mutual stayed. My buddy, who hosted me during the worst of it, has become an even closer friend. We've got a standing Thursday night thing now. Beers, bad movies. Occasionally his wife joins us and destroys us both at Scrabble. Funny thing happened last week. I was at a coffee shop, working on my laptop, and I overheard two women at the next table. One was venting about her boyfriend not wanting to attend her church. He says he's not religious, but can't he just come for me? It's just a few hours on Sunday. Her friend said, "If he doesn't want to go, he doesn't want to go. You can't force faith." First woman. It's not about faith. It's about supporting me. I wanted to lean over and say something. Didn't, obviously. But it reminded me that this conflict isn't unique to my situation. People compromise themselves all the time for relationships. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes you wake up 10 years later resenting everything about your life. I chose not to be that person, and I'm okay with that choice. Still not dating. A few people have tried to set me up. Not ready yet. My therapist says I'll know when I am. For now, I'm focused on work, friends, and figuring out who I am outside of a relationship for the first time in years. The apartment feels like mine again. I finally got a new couch. The old one had too many memories. The new one is leather, which I always wanted, but she thought was too bachelor pad. Small reclamation, but it matters. Last piece of news. I heard through the extensive grapevine that my ex's younger sister's engagement fell through. Apparently the guy had second thoughts about the family. Can't imagine why. I don't feel good about that. I don't feel bad either. It's just information about people who are no longer part of my life. Someone messaged me asking if I'd ever consider converting to any religion for a partner in the future. The answer is no. Not because I think religion is bad or because I look down on believers, but because my lack of faith is as fundamental to who I am as someone else's faith is to them. Asking me to convert is asking me to be someone else, and I spent 2 years with someone who thought that was acceptable. Never again. If I meet someone religious in the future, the conversation will happen early. Not on the first date, but early. What does their faith mean to them? What would they need from a partner? Would they be okay with someone who doesn't share it? If the answers aren't compatible, we part as friends. No ambushes, no 3-month deception campaigns, just honesty. That's the standard now, for them and for me. So that's it. The saga of the ambush conversion ceremony. 2 years of relationship, 2 months of chaos, and the rest of my life to apply what I learned. To everyone who reached out with support, thank you. To the few who told me I was wrong for not just going along with it, I hope you never find yourself in a situation where someone asks you to lie about who you are for their convenience. It's a clarifying experience, but not a pleasant one. To my ex, if she's somehow reading this, I genuinely hope you find what you're looking for. Someone who shares your faith, meets your family's approval, and fits into the life you want. I wasn't that person, and you knew it from the start. The only mistake was thinking you could make me into him without asking. You couldn't, and that's okay, for both of us. As for me, I'm going to keep being exactly who I've always been. An atheist who respects others' beliefs while refusing to fake my own. A guy who learned the hard way that love isn't enough if respect isn't there too, and someone who now owns a really comfortable leather couch. Life goes on, and honestly, it's getting better. Thanks for listening, everyone. Take care of yourselves.